Now, when last we met with our adventurers, they were doing things that adventurers do, like going to the pub to have a drink. But they showed up at the pub at the bequest of a mysterious stranger. And wouldn't you know it, that stranger had an adventure for them. Fortune and glory, profits and gold, tales to tell. So he sent them on their way to find a key in a crypt of an unknown paladin not too far from the city of Ulfdale. Now the adventurers set out like they do, a lot of walking, like in The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings and what have you. You go walkabout. And they came upon the site of the crypt. They got a good whomping from some trees and some bushes. Some splinters were had. Some headaches occurred. But they beat the awakened trees and shrubs, feeling a sense of magic coming from the nearby crypt. They went down after meeting up with some nasty spiders, finding some less fortunate adventurer corpses that had gone down before them. They discovered a mysterious spellcaster of a sort that none of them could identify either by species or the language that she was speaking. Now, she was quite hostile. She was super pissed that they were down there. She had summoned up a bunch of undead to try to stop them, but those pesky adventurers just would not relent. So they met. Combat happened. They slayed the mysterious woman, but unfortunately, they were all of them deceived. For the mysterious stranger had tricked the adventurers into removing a guardian, and by doing so, they have set forth a chain reaction of unpleasant events that we are entitling the Crossrit Crisis.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome, adventurers. Thanks for joining us. So this week we are back to our main campaign, the Cross the Rip Crisis, in episode 0, which you guys didn't see, but I promise you this is what happened. Our adventurers unwittingly played a key role in the Keymaster's plan to break the final lock and bring about the Great Planar Convergence. Back in the town of Ulfdale, our adventurers learned from the Sergeant-at-Arms, Gels, that there was a prophecy involving the strange event that had happened, and sent them north towards a ruined watchtower with a special medallion so they could try to find more information from a magical source. While they were on the road, they met up with 2 strangers, a she-orc called Ugra and a turtle monk called Grok. They learned from Grok of the multiverse, a myriad of planes of existence that all swarm and spiral together, separated by magical fields. Some of these planes were once connected and powerful beings could travel between them, but some of these beings were quite malevolent. Conflict arose between them and other entities of great power, which resulted in the severing and binding of those connections between worlds. However, the dark beings had agents scattered about the planes, and the Keymaster being among them, and he was charged with the task of breaking the seals to reconnect the planes. This, however, has resulted in an unstable cross-rip between this and other dimensions, causing chaos and wild change throughout the world. So when we last left our adventurers, they were headed towards this watchtower. They had arrived there. All right. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome, adventurers. Glad to be back at it this week. Last week did not go exactly as I originally had planned, but that's because I'm still figuring out exactly how we need to be timing these sessions in terms of combat and plot, yada, yada, yada. Last week, though, our adventurers made it to the ruined tower that they were sent to, got into a fight with some nasty lizard folk. There was some parkour, some other hijinks. They most assuredly slaughtered all the lizard folk and their giant snake. And then when we left our adventurers, they had stepped into a portal that was activated by the dragon medallion that they received from Sergeant Gels back in Ulfdale. And then it whisked them away to some unknown locale. All right, welcome in, everyone. Welcome, adventurers. So excited to be back in our Cross the Rip Crisis game. Very excited about tonight's session. That tends to be me, I think, though. I tend to get excited about every session I this game. So the last time we played, our adventurers were propelled across time and space to the complete opposite side of the continent of Syngia. They were sent there by the dragon Aedrus, and given some information about closing their first rift in an effort to slow the planar convergence that their world is currently experiencing. So they landed in a dried riverbed in the middle of the woods and were beset upon by a massive attack party of orcs, trolls, and ogres, an unusual combination. Our heroes fought bravely, and their foes just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And eventually, they were surprised by the sudden appearance of an attack party of dark elf battle mages. The leader of this attack party was called Nishan. Met the adventurers, extended them friendly greetings, found out that they were sent by the dragon Aedrus because of the dragon pendant that our Colossus has, Gray. And when we left, our adventurers were accompanying Nishan back to the nearby Dark Elf battle camp that they have set up in response to the increased orc activity. We also learned that the rift that they're looking for is in the Well of Power, which we haven't learned anything else about the Well of Power yet. Glad to be back this week with another installment of the Cross-Rip Crisis. So kind of get folks up to speed if you haven't been following along every episode, or just to give you a refresher because last week we did a very fun one-shot. So when we left our heroes in Cross-Rip last time, they had ventured into a dark elf encampment near a Well of Power that they were given information telling them that one of these dimensional rifts is there. They have a dark elf ally with them and set out to approach this well from a secret road into a hidden entrance. They came upon a giant encampment of orcs, ogres, and trolls, but they made pretty bloody quick work of them. But before they could head through the cave waterfall entrance, a massive skull crab came out of the lake and is now blocking their safe path. So last week we killed a big old crab monster really easily, which gave me pause to reevaluate the combat scenarios that I'm building for you guys. So get ready for some higher challenge ratings. Also, it dawned on me as I was inputting a whole bunch of information about a possible encounter for tonight that I've been largely ignoring damage resistances for some reason. So, yeah, combat might be getting a little bit harder going here from here on in. That being said, we killed a big old crab monster and then went into the cave where we discovered a small group of orcs, ogres, and trolls seemingly setting up explosives around the last entrance to the Well of Power. They were being overseen by a mysterious armored magic user of some sort who, after Pebble decided to attack him, discovered that his attacks bounced off to a certain extent, which caused some headaches. And then he just up and disappeared through a portal, but not before summoning one of the most phallic monsters in the D&D monster manual, a big old nasty roper covered in tentacles, eyes, and teeth. All things that make us feel warm and fuzzy. So that's where we left off last week, and